And Wim de Gier in the Netherlands. Thanks very much for joining us on Air Sports News.
Thank you very much. You're welcome, Regan.
It's good to see you, Wim.
Yes.
There's something special about you in so much that you're taking part regularly in 2 air sports.
Yes, actually 3.
Well, I know about skydiving, I know about hang gliding. What's the other one?
That's mosquito flying. It's also hang gliding, but I take off from the ground like a goose, I run,
yes.
And then I have an engine behind, and then I fly like a bird.
So
actually, it's the same like hang gliding, but with a small engine.
Interesting. Which came first, Wim? What did you start?
Skydiving. Skydiving in 1981, June. So nearly 40 years ago, I started close to Hilversum, a small drop zone in the center of the Netherlands.
Skydiving in the 80s was very different than it is
Yes, now. Absolutely. Round canopies and my own paracommander, heavy cloud before I joined the other.
What's happening right now in air sports in the Netherlands? Are you back in the skies? Everything's open again?
Yes, actually, the skies opened 3-4 weeks ago. As I'm also the chairman for hang gliding, so I was very much involved in the discussion and to open our sports again. I was able to fly with my mosquito as I'm totally self-supported. So when I walk outside of my house, I can just go to a small airfield, it's just the grass of a farmer, and then I can run, walk, and I fly myself. So that was really allowed. So even during the pandemic, skydiving was not, of course, as you know, but we started, I think, about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I have been skydiving for a day, and this Sunday I go again with a couple of friends to skydiving. Hang gliding was also opened, I think, about 4 weeks ago. So I've been to Austria already 3 weeks ago. I flew in Greifenburg, and I go in a couple of weeks to Switzerland to also fly from hopefully a beautiful mountain.
I'm very jealous. I've not been back in the air yet since the Maldives. So.
Yes.
How did you get into hang gliding, Wim? How did that start?
Actually, it started with 5 other skydivers, actually with 4, so with 4 friends. We actually were skydiving in an 8-way team on Texel. At that moment in time, there was one friend who said, I want to also feel that other sport. I said, actually, why not? It was always my dream too. As I was a kid, I've been into the mountains and I saw these people flying off the mountains. This is really crazy. I want to do that. But actually, I didn't. I went skydiving that time. So after 25 years, it's now 14 years ago, I started hang gliding in Germany, just across the border.
And how was it? As a skydiver going into a new sport, did it have a similar progression, or how did it feel?
Actually, I received that question quite often. What do you prefer? That kind of questions. For me, hang gliding is much more. It's more relaxed. I'll phrase it in a way, but you have to really measure and to look for the elements. So if you want to find an thermal, you have to really have your eyes open. You have to look, which is it grass, are there trees, is there water, what could be a nice spot for a nice thermal. But actually the key difference is that we have the adrenaline rush in skydiving, goes very quickly, it's just a minute, you have to do your thing very quickly. And with hang gliding, of course, the start is very important, also the landing. And in between, you have so much more time. It's a wonderful experience. Yeah, I love it.
Weeks ago, I interviewed Englishman Darren Brown.
I saw it.
Yeah, and I was really surprised at how quickly, if I was to turn up, how quickly I would be in the air. It's not like an 8-hour ground school like we've got in skydiving.
No, absolutely not. No, you can really, and even in the Netherlands, I fly at the coast, so close to the North Sea, and you are standing just above in the sand dunes, and it's just 5-10 meters off the ground, actually, so on a very small hill. You just take off, you fly away, and then you can stay there for hours, Regan. It's really is amazing. But that's one, and the other one. So that's from the sand dunes. You use the soaring wind. You fly from mountains. That's of course that's also different. And then if you have the right thermals, you can stay up for a couple of hours. And with towing, so a long winch. We in the Netherlands we don't have any mountains, of course, as you know, so we have to use a winch. And the other one is that you are towed behind an ultralight, and that I've learned also last year or 2 years ago. So 4 different times to feel the air.
What about for somebody going for the very first time? How do they learn?
Yeah, in the Netherlands there are 2 possibilities. One is with the rope, so that's the so you are pulled with a rope into the air. Of course, the first day is just to handle your hang gliding and to know how it feels. But then the next day you are already able to fly just for a couple of meters. We have very small hills, very small, and we have these practice hills where you can take off and then you fly for a couple of seconds. And after a couple of weekends, you are able to go higher and higher. And then, of course, you have to go to the mountains, because we don't have any mountains. And go to Austria, Germany, France, fly around.
Incredible. Are you involved with first-timers, with new people?
I'm the chairman of the Dutch Hang Gliding Association. So I'm involved actually more marketing-wise. As the hang gliding sport is actually going down in the Netherlands. A lot of people go to Paderpand or to fly with big canopies, of course, from mountains. With hang gliding, it's a little bit more difficult. So you see actually that less and less people take that opportunity and to jump in our sport. And I made a decision to turn it around. So we have a huge marketing campaign at the moment running in the Netherlands, and to have some more pilots into the air. So I'm not an instructor, but of course, yeah, I'm quite involved with the schools in the Netherlands to get them up to speed and to get more first joiners in. And especially nowadays, if you look at the pandemic where the world is at the moment, I think it's important that you go outside the cities, feel the air, feel the freedom, and don't just only look at your iPad or iPhone. Just go out and feel the energy. It's so beautiful out there.
For your mental health, it's so important, isn't it?
It's and of course we know the same discussion what we sometimes have with the beer after a good day of skydiving. And that's the same for hang gliding. It gives so much freedom, and also it's so important for your health. I totally agree.
I mean, a lot of people, me included, we've rarely left the house in the last 4 months. It's a big change in the pace of life, especially for people who normally used to being outdoors.
Totally agree. And specifically in big cities. That's of course, that's crazy. I've been in Amsterdam over the last weeks a couple of times, but it's a nightmare. So I'm so happy that I live in the countryside and I can just get my mosquito and take off and fly away.
Sounds fantastic. So what are you doing to try and entice people into hang gliding? How are you trying to get them involved?
Okay, we launched a new website. It's a Dutch name, www.leernudeltavliegen.nl.
I'll try it. Leernudeltavliegen.nl.
Leren, so practice.
Yes.
Now, at the moment, Delta Vliegen, so hang gliding.nl. So it's actually, so we launched a new website with a very a strong video around it. Very simple website actually. It's more a website that people can visit and then they are pushed to the schools. That's one. We have a very simple explanation how hang gliding works, that it is easy. It's one of the cheapest air sports. It is the cheapest air sports in the world. You don't need to have a big, very expensive machine or a rig or a parachute or whatever. So it's cheap. It's simple to learn. After a weekend, you can fly. Of course, not directly from a big mountain, but you can fly. So it's also easy to learn. And the other one is, it's the same. It's freedom. It gives you so much energy. And we specifically focus on young adults from 20 to 25 years old that get out of your house, get behind away from your computer or iPad. Go out there. It's freedom. It's so amazing. Yeah.
I would really like to try it. It's something I've got a big interest in, more than I have with paragliding. I think I would rather try hang gliding than paragliding.
Yes. Yeah, actually, in the Netherlands, I started with 4 other skydivers. Unfortunately, they also stopped due to complexity. You have to go to the mountains if you want to make bigger flights. But there's one German guy, Klaus Renz. He also is a skydiver and a hang glider. And for the rest, I don't know that many people who do both of the sports. No. It's,
what's the competition scene like in the Netherlands? Is there people compete much or not?
Yeah. I go this August, the end of August. We have 2 competitions in the Netherlands. One is, of course, you always have to fly these triangles. You go from A to B to C and back, or from A to B and then whatever. So it's the competition is all over the world the same. You have to fly triangles as quickly as possible. But in the Netherlands, again, we don't have mountains, so you will always be tied up with a ultralight. So that's one. So we have a competition, a national competition in the Netherlands, and we have a national competition in Italy, France, Austria from mountains. But due to the pandemic, there's no competition there's no Dutch competition or Dutch national championships in the mountains. It's only here. Flying triangles, use the thermals, so you cannot fly these ridges from mountains, but we fly from A to B to C here in the Netherlands, and I will join that competition. Yeah.
Where's with the hang glider? Where's been the most spectacular place you've flown?
I flew from Rio, a mountain in Rio de Janeiro. Yeah, I'm lucky that I had actually an international role. I had to travel for my work to Brazil, to New Zealand, Australia, India, Dubai, back home. And I brought my rig, and so that's important for always. There was also a dream for me to fly in Rio. I've seen spectacular movies about that one. And I had a half a day in Rio, and I was able to make 2 flights of all by myself from a mountain in Rio de Janeiro and landed on the beach.
Wow, incredible! So when you first went to hang gliding, you were already an experienced skydiver.
Yes.
So what was the sensation like? Tell me about that first time ever going hang gliding. I'm very interested to know how it is as a skydiver when you first go hang gliding.
Yeah, actually, it's the same freedom, but you don't have the rush. So it's a freedom, but the first moment that you are able to fly a machine by yourself, just by moving from left to right, and then it's silent. The skydiving is, of course, we have always the noise, but it's quiet. So it was early in the morning, a very small slope, and I flew the first, let's say, 10-15 seconds. And it's just so calm, so relaxed, and total freedom. It was amazing.
What was the instruction like before you did that? How long did it take from parking the car until you were flying?
It took me, I think, it was a weekend. So it was a long weekend. So we started on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the first day was just walking with that hang gliding on your shoulders around to get the feel about that machine, how to put it together and how to unpack it again. And it all worked. That was a full day. And then the second day you start your first run, and it's 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Actually, same with skydiving.
Yeah.
In my days, I didn't start as in AFF. Yeah. Maybe you too. Yes. So it was just so these first seconds of flying the machine yourself, and then you fly longer and longer and longer. It's important that you have a good launch and a good landing. That's really crucial. And if that's okay, then you can move up to the mountains, or with what I told you about the towing. The towing. Is it towing or towing? Towing.
And so obviously you're using club equipment, or how does that work with the equipment when you're learning? You've got the equipment you can rent, or you borrow?
Yeah. You rent it from the organization. So it's a hang gliding school. There are just a few in the Netherlands, but you just rent that equipment, and that's it. So you don't need to buy anything.
Yeah.
And also second hand. That's also for me was quite a big surprise. Less than €1,000, you have a machine. You can just take off. It's not like a parachute. A parachute is, as you know, Rick, is much more expensive.
Yeah. And we know from skydiving that the canopies that you can buy have got vastly different performance and safety issues to them. Is this the same with hang gliders? Is there a much different range or not?
Yeah. Totally the same. You have these smaller hang gliders and really the very fast flying machines. And what also for me is a big difference that with hang gliding, you are allowed to modify your own hang glider. With skydiving, that's impossible. It's not allowed, of course. As you know, you are not able to change your rig, or you're not able to pack your reserve parachute. With hang gliding, it is. So you can modify it yourself, of course. Not that many people do, but if something broke or a cable has been torn apart or whatever, you can remove it and change it yourself. I don't. I fly to Italy. There's a hang gliding factory, and they actually make them new again, or they repair them for me if something happens, and it happens.
Thinking of some footage I saw maybe last year, do some hang gliders have like a ballistic reserve parachute as well, or is that something we're getting confused?
Yeah, everybody has. So you have a parachute on your chest if something happens. Actually, there was an accident also in Annecy with one Dutch guy. They entangled, they collapsed or whatever. Is collapsed now. So they entangled, and he threw his reserve, and it's a small round reserve, and it's a life-saving thing. Yeah, it's actually it's very easy.
Spring loaded or
no? You have to you grab it with your hand, and then you throw it away. You throw it into free air space. If it was spring loaded, then it would go off immediately, and you cannot control the direction. It's very important that you throw your parachute into free air. You don't know where your glider is at that moment in time.
Yes.
So you have to be conscious and relaxed.
Yes. And what about this? I saw a glider on YouTube, the one where the guy climbs inside of it. He's got like a little cabin. It's like a small aircraft. Have you seen that?
Yeah. That's right. It's Manfred Römer. He flies that machine. It's a combination of a hang glider and a glider, and he combined these two elements actually. But it's the same. It's a foot launch. So you launch by running from a mountain, but then you can pull yourself into a small cabin. And that's the same with the Mosquito. If I fly my Mosquito hang glider, I also take off like a goose. So I start running, and I have the throttle in my mouth. I steer with my arms, and I bite, and then the engine is running and pushing me away. I have to run like a goose, and after 30, 40, 50 meters, depending on the wind, of course, I take off and fly over beautiful castles, tulip fields. Yeah, it's amazing.
Do you have speed control on the throttle, or is it?
Yeah. But then again, you also have to learn that.
Yeah.
And I found it out myself with two hang gliding friends, and actually also two skydivers. So we said, okay, this is it. We bought the machine in Sweden. I bought the glider in Italy, attached it together. Okay, how does it work? So we looked at a instruction video, and then in the end you just have to go. But in the beginning I was too let's say, too scared, or I was always flying it way too quick. So I had to put the bar backwards to really fly my position. And after a couple of flights, hey, why not fly slower? And that's it. So you just control with your arms. After, when you are in at about 60, 70 meters, you get rid of the throttle from your mouth, and then there's a small hand throttle on your right shoulder. And then I can control it now very easily. And it also saves a lot of petrol. So now I fly nearly, how you call it? Stable, not that quick anymore. And I can fly for 3 hours.
Wow.
Really. And yeah, my longest flight is about 2 hours. I've been to a big city, over a football, soccer stadium, been to beautiful castles, bridges. It's it's so easy to control. I fly really low over these tulip fields. Amazing footage.
Incredible. What about permissions for the flight? You just do what you want, or do you need to get?
No, yeah, you can do what you want, but you have to stay in the uncontrolled zone of aviation control zone.
Yes.
Of course, I'm not allowed to fly to Amsterdam or to Schiphol, of course. But if I stay below 1,000 feet, I can fly whatever I want in the Netherlands. Not lower than 600 feet over small villages and cities. Sometimes I do.
I was going to say, I'm sure you do.
Yes, of course. When I'm close to a beautiful tulip field, I flew over it. But then, of course, I'm in the middle of nowhere. So and people don't care. The farmers are just waving. But I've been then up to 5, 7, or 10 meters max, fly over it. Beautiful.
You've never been tempted into paragliding, Win?
Not yet. I think that when I'm getting older, which I don't like, but it's happening, which of course I hope to. Then I think I will move into parapent. Yeah. I think. But what I love about that sport, what I've seen nowadays, that you can walk over the Alps. So you walk. They call it hike and fly. So you hike up the mountain, you fly off, and the next day you walk to another mountain, and you can cross the Alps. That's quite heavy with a hang glider on your shoulder. Impossible.
Yeah.
But sometimes I also have taken my hang glider with skiing. I go skiing with my family. Yeah. And I was able to bring my hang glider up with the first ski lifts. Of course, in Binding, in the early hours of the day, they fill up the hotels and restaurants, so with special cabins. And I was able to get my hang glider on such a cabin. And so when I arrived up to a mountain in Grindelwald, my glider was there. I just walked it to a black slope, took off.
Wow.
Flew into the valley. Yeah, amazing. Oh, really good. It's so nice.
It sounds like something that I really want to try. I think if I find myself back in the UK, I'm going to look up the clubs there. But I'm sure around here in Montreal, there must be clubs as well.
Sure. It is absolutely the case that that's possible. What I've done also, I'll talk about skydiving, and it's not a sport, of course, but I jumped from a paramotor. So also with the... you don't call it parapent, you had a different name. What's the English name for parapent? Paraglider. So paraglider is a small engine from a Belgian skydiver, actually. He had more than 8,000 skydives. Yeah. And we took off. Of course, the first couple of 100 meters is so scary, like whatever. You don't want to fall off. So really grab yourself. And then I left about 4,000 feet or something, like a base jump. But it's nice.
So all your skydiving centers in the Netherlands are open now. You can go.
Yeah. Of course, we need to wear a scarf, which was actually not the case at the beginning of the opening of the skydiving in the Netherlands. But now we are also allowed with 16 people into a caravan or 18, so completely full, but we need to wear a scarf.
How has the pandemic affected you with work? Have you been working from home or?
Yeah, working from home. Also, my wife is now working from home. I'm working from home. But what is the most difficult one is that these high buildings. I'm, as you know, a project manager. You cannot go into the high building with an elevator. That's the 1.5 meters is of course that's impossible. So people need to work from home. Although I see now that there are some projects who are able and come together again, and it is getting better, absolutely. When you go into this the village or city, I was this weekend a couple of times, and then I was in Nijmegen. It's whatever. It's a big city in the Netherlands, and it's just full again.
Really?
It's like normal.
Wow.
So, but of course we are worried what will happen, or worried. Actually, I'm not worried, but we have to take care, of course, what will happen with the second or third wave.
Exactly. So,
and how? Oh, sorry. Yeah,
no, so what's coming up for you then for the rest of the summer with the skies?
With the skies. This Sunday skydiving was 4 at work. That's the team name which I do at Teugen in the Netherlands. And I go to Switzerland for hang gliding. Afterwards, there's the Dutch hang gliding championships in the Netherlands. And in September, I'm planning to go to Spain, most likely to the Pyrenees, to fly, or maybe to Slovenia or Italy to fly in the Alps. So and then in between, I will have some weekends of skydiving, of course. And then I'm waiting for you.
Me too.
To see you somewhere. As you know, I've been jumping in 22 different countries, but
yes,
I want to have more. So
yeah. Oh, my last skydives were in the Maldives. I've not been back to the sky yet, so I'm waiting. Wim, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend. Thank you very much for that. And
thank you.
Keep safe. And
yes.
Say hello to the family, and I look forward to seeing you somewhere soon.
We will. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye, Regan. Bye bye.